Namaste everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. Welcome again to Yoga Bharati Day 3 session today. Both the previous days we had M and M, that is menstruation and menopause. Those who have missed the sessions, please always, you can go back to the Yoga Bharati YouTube channel and watch that later. So today I have with me Dr. Shubha Chetan, and we both would have a wonderful discussion about diet and lifestyle. So before we dive in, let's all first center ourselves, sit comfortably, allow ourselves to settle down, keep your back upright, have a lovely smile on your face, watch your breath, bring your awareness to the tip of the nostrils, observe the in-breath and the out-breath for some time. Tune in to your breath. Join your palms Namaskara Mudra. Om along with Shanti Mantra, breathe in. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Let's bow down. Pray for the grace of Almighty to nourish us today. Slowly come up whenever you're ready. Blink open your eyes. Once again, welcome everyone. I'm Prabha Krishna and my colleague and friend Dr. Shubha Chetan here. So Shubha, would you like to introduce yourself? We have to introduce ourselves because we don't have anyone else to introduce. Yes. I can't hear you, Shubha. Are you all able to hear me, isn't it? Okay. Now, no.
Yeah, Prabha, you are audible. Shubha ma'am is not audible.
No problem, no problem. Shubha, you just check it. Chetana, can you help her? Okay. So I'll move on to introduce myself. I'm Prabha Krishna. I'm the secretary of this organization. I'm also a senior yoga therapist. Been teaching yoga since 2003, to say exactly. And my passion is all about teaching yoga to people, also making a difference in their lives so that their health situations, everything gets better, and also to nurture and nourish everyone. I've also been always keen since when along with yoga is ahara, vihara, vichara, achara, isn't it? So all the four pillars of health is very much part of it. So ahara comes a very, very primary role when you are in the field of yoga, when you are in the path of yoga, to say exactly, when yoga becomes our way of life. So ahara has always been a very important role for me. Ahara, in that way, I have always been a keen learner from since many years. I have learned. I've read several books, employed different eating habits for myself and my family together, and also done some courses on nutrition, as well as done courses on traditional Chinese medicine, which also comes along lot of energy related food habits. So this is where I am coming from, and I'm also a lifestyle consultant where I guide people with who are having difficulties in scheduling their lifestyle. So I just give them guidance. So this is where my introduction starts. So maybe till Shubha joins, yeah, till Shubha joins, I'll continue. Yeah, Chetan, I hope she's got.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me, Prabha?
Yes, fantastic. I can't see you. I
Yeah,
can hear.
now, right? Now?
Yes, very, very good.
Thank you. I missed out on your introduction though, because I was trying to check on the whatever volume, the speaker. Fine. But anyway, I do know Prabha from some time now, and I know um, her as a fantastic human being. Let me say that. That is the first and foremost of introduction that I would like to give about Prabha, or what I would say. And yes, having I may have an Ayurvedic degree, I may be an Ayurvedic doctor, but I still see a lot of interest regarding diet and regarding lifestyle, which I see, which Prabha pursues it very ardently, and that is something which has always intrigued me. And having said that, let me also say that Ayurveda is it is a science which many people have forgotten. It is the root from where we have come, and many people have forgotten. And to reawaken that in all of us, in the public, is what I would love to do, And through this medium of speaking on AHARA and VIHARA also is one of the methods of reviving the system. Reviving it's in whatever we speak about. When we speak through these sessions, we will know, understand what actually Ayurveda means and speaks about AHARA and VIHARA. And of course, Ayurveda and yoga are nothing but sister concepts. So since many of us here are students of yoga or walking on the path of yoga, I'm sure this is going to be very, very interesting for all of us. These concepts are very similar. Here and there are a few, differences, or why that is, we can see that as we go ahead, right?
Okay. So we'll start off right away. We'll dive in, and I request the audience here to keep posting queries on anything related to Ahara, that is the diet angle, lifestyle angles, anything you are facing issues. Apart from giving you a diet regime, we will actually clarify whatever doubts to them as much as ability as possible. In case we are unable to, we'll get back to you later. Okay. So we'll move on to Ahara. So I actually came upon, I think Raghuramji always talks very highly about Socrates, so a Greek philosopher. So he said that an unexamined life is not worth living. So it's a very, very strong statement. So it's very important for all of us to examine our life. What's happening, our life, or what is our path, what is our life, what are my thoughts, what are my lifestyle, what am I taking in. So the taking in aspect, and what am I giving, what am I receiving, and what am I giving. So what kind of energies I am taking in and what kind of energies I am emanating or radiating outward is very important for all of us. And that is where the concept of ahara only comes, because our thinking that ahara means it is only diet and some what am I eating for lunch and dinner, or should I eat lunch or dinner, that is also there a question mark. Many people ask, Prabha, should I eat lunch, shall I just skip lunch, that's it, I want to reduce weight, like that. So what am I actually taking in from my surroundings, from this session itself? There are things which is going to go into your head. From Women's Wellness Week itself, you're going to get so many different inputs. What inputs am I taking in, and what am I disregarding, which is not necessary for my growth? And that itself, what is nourishing me, am I able to nourish that, take in, nurture myself? Am I giving that as a priority? So over to
Prabha,
Shubha.
here I would like to add, when you said diet, everybody thinks ahara means diet. And diet is the key, word, or the fad word right now. Everybody, I am following a keto diet, I am following a fat-free diet, I am following a vegan diet. This is what we are all, into of mainly. But here, when you say diet, um, diet doesn't actually refer to what type of food or what it is. It is the food that nourishes you. And like Prabha aptly and rightly put it across, she says food or anything, it's not only food. Food goes a long way in nourishing not only our body, but of course our mind, because the subtlest part of the food that we take in, the nourishment of the subtlest part goes in feeding our mind, in nourishing our mind, nourishing our emotions. So that we generally see when we say, when we, are feeling a little low, we have something which is, which generally we tend to eat, say maybe a chocolate or a sweet or whatever, and we say, oh, I'm feeling good. It's my feel good factor, right? That's what we are generally say. So here we can relate that concept of food, the nourishment or the subtle part of the food going in to nourish the mind and our emotions. So let us bear that in mind whenever we think of food as nourishment. So that is one factor that I would like to say when we are saying about ahara. And ahara, again, according to Ayurveda and yoga, it's one of the three pillars which sustain life. Like you said, we need to examine our life. This is one of the strongest pillars that we need to examine. Sleep and the other lifestyle being the other ones, the other two life pillars, which are say ahara, vihara, and nidra. These are the three upastambhas as we call in Ayurveda, and of course in yoga too. So with that, let's start with how and what the ahara and what we call as diet. And generally here we see that when we say diet, we only come up with this diet suits me, this diet doesn't suit me. I want to lose weight, so I'm going to go on this particular diet. This is what generally we all follow. But according to Ayurveda, there are a lot of factors that go into constituting that factor of diet and ahara. It is not just one thing, because it is not one diet or one formula which works for all. Definitely not. It is individualized. It is customized. That is a beautiful thing about Ayurveda, or even yoga, if you can say. You just look at our 5 fingers, we see not all 5 are the same. Each one has its importance, right? We wouldn't be able to live without the thumb, nor the index finger, even the little finger for that matter of fact. Similarly, each one of us are constituted differently, be it bodily, be it emotionally, be it mentally, we are different. So based on how different we are, or what are the differences which make us, which constitute us, our diets also go in working for that or against that. So this is what I would like to put in about the diet, ahara. Do we go on, Prabha?
Shubha, is if all of us kind of sit back and then think, because this is going to be an interactive session, so you should just keep putting it in the group also, in your messages also, chats. We won't be able to unmute you because it disturbs the session. But how have you been doing so far? That question, if all of us kind of sit back, how am I doing so far? Basically, if all of us think for a few seconds, okay, what am I doing, what is my life, what are my inputs? So can we all think like that, and that becomes a starting point. That becomes a starting point for all of us to what can be my goal. And sometimes our goals also are very we think here and then we'll say, I want to climb Mount Everest. Becomes so we have to train to go to Mount Everest, right? So there is a training going on. So first we have to think, okay, let me climb at least the nearby mountain in my Bangalore. Start climbing a nearby hill, then a mountain, start going round first in the around my layout or a community west. So we have to have achievable goals. That achievable goals also helps us. So what have I been doing so far, and what would I like to do next, is where again we all need to be thinking. I'm sure people who in corporate, you will have goal settings, right? What goals? And some Ayo Shraddha, she keeps telling, right? We do copy and paste from the last year to this year. So never do copy paste of last year's resolution to this year's resolution. Then it will keep continuing and we feel miserable. What I see women here is they keep getting more and more miserable each time they look at the weighing scale. the weighing scale becomes a very stressful factor. Sometimes weighing scale is then I need not be there only, I see, because each time it is weighing you and then weighing you immediately. Oh, Prabha, 2.6 kilos. Digital scale is again a big deadly stress this thing, because you get 0.6, 0.8, then they will say I have not gone my motion, so there is a 0.8 kilos. So Prabha, let me finish my ablutions and then I'll come and measure the weight. See how much stress it adds on. And when we start a diet regime, again we start measuring weight morning, then night, the next day morning, thinking that it will be fast. Things are like fast. So anything sustainable is important. So shall we discuss a little bit what is the sustainability in diet or anything we do, even vihara, that is a lifestyle changes, recreational changes, relaxational changes, what all things, what is sustainability? Because we tend to be now crowded with so many WhatsApp sources, so many Facebook sessions, and people sharing their testimonials, which is very, very inspiring, and seeing some have done this diet, that diet, and this diet, and how they have reduced weight or they become fit, and suddenly we get inspired and we start jumping towards it. And like Shubha says, every one of us are unique. What is our constitution and what suits us is important. So what is sustainable weight loss is also important. Sustainable ahara is also very important. So Shubha, would you like to throw light on that?
Uh, say helps to can you hear me? I can. Are the others able to hear me?
Yes, now it's good. Now
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay. So it's what is congenial to a person's constitution, congenial to a person's strength, congenial to a person's channels. That is what we call as shrotas within us. What nourishes us, what makes us become better, not only physically but also emotionally and mentally, is what is congenial to us, and that is what we call as patya in Ayurveda. Generally, everyone when you say Ayurveda, they say, "Oh, there is a lot of patya, and we don't want to take that." Patya does not mean that. Patya means that which is beneficial to you. So you stick to that diet and that type of food, which helps you to become more stronger, which doesn't which doesn't bring about an imbalance in your doshas or in your constitution. That is what is patya. So if we can take food at the right time, according to Ayurveda and also yoga, when we say food with different gunas, right? The modern method of weighing food, what we take, is only based on the macronutrients, more on the macronutrients. Also, the micronutrients are given a lot of importance, but it's all based on calories, quantity, and these are the things that we are basing our, what do you say, we base our diets on these factors. But here, when we say Ayurveda or yoga, we're not looking at that. We're looking at gunas, we're looking at food, because when we know with the whole concept of Ayurveda and yoga is all of us, our constituents are made of Panchamahabhutas, the 5 elements that is there not only in us, in the space, in everything all around us. And these Panchamahabhutas are the main factors for the food too, right? The food that is grown, that we eat, also is constituted of these Panchamahabhutas. So when we look at it that way, and when we look at it about what do you say, the gunas of yoga, sattva, rajas, and tamas, that is what nourishes you. That is a more sustainable form of looking at ahara, is what I would think. And yes, when you say right time, somebody has put up a question asking, what can you elaborate on the right time of eating food? So right time of eating food, according to Ayurveda or yoga also, we give a lot of importance to what we call as Agni. Okay, Agni or fire or digestive fire that we see is given a lot of importance in Ayurveda or in yoga. And this Agni, when it is in good condition, it helps to digest. It is like a fire, like you see a fire, and whatever you put into the fire, it gets ignited and it burns out, and it turns into whatever good ashes and whatever is produced as a result of its burning and combustibility, is that the food gets transformed into the nutrient factor. That is what we say. So when the Agni is good, that is when you take your meal. And according to Ayurveda, we would suggest eating 2 meals a day. That is more than enough. If not, 3 square meals a day. That's enough. Where you start with a moderate breakfast, a good amount of lunch, because that is the time when the Jataragni is supposed to be at its peak, or it's the best functioning time for the Agni. So that is when you're supposed to eat well, the good meal, the sumptuous. I wouldn't say sumptuous as in it's not a feast. It's a feast where you take in proper proportion. Okay, the food that you take in proper proportion in the afternoon, and then in the evening, before or at the time of sunset, is the time that you take your food, last meal, which should be quite light. That is what Ayurveda and both, I think yoga also says the same thing. Does that answer your question? Who asked about the right time?
One more thing to add on is are we truly hungry to eat is
Exactly.
also very important, because sometimes we are used to a schedule. We are used to a particular schedule that I'll have breakfast at 8:30, lunch at 1:30, dinner at dash dash dash, whatever. So automatically, even though maybe on that day you would have had a feast and the lunch, now all weddings are all open, now you would have had a grand feast, or you would have gone out with friends, so you would have had a grand lunch. So but the mind is said that I have to eat my dinner at 8 p.m, but you might not be hungry at all. Your stomach would be full. So again, being mindful of what's happening inside. Oh, am I really feeling that hunger pangs? Like yesterday, ma'am also was telling, nowadays there is no malnutrition. There is only malnutrition. So that is because there is no aspect of malnutrition at all, because there is, we do not know what is real hunger many times. So that because we are not able, before that hunger pangs come itself, we are all set to eat. So again, listening to the body signals. Maybe that day I am not having that. I am having a bloating because maybe I had rajma chawal in the afternoon. Maybe the rajma is really keeping me full. So what can I have in the night? Again, do I want to have chapati, jeera rice, this, that, and all? Or can I have it light? Or I listen to my stomach. I'm not at all feeling hungry. What do I do? What choice can I take? I think everywhere the freedom of choice is there within us. The thing is, what is the choice I am taking? What am I tending to grab on, or tending to eat, is where again and again we all women play a very important role, because we become role models in the family. Because I read somebody was saying, I think Sheila Nambiar, I think she was saying, we are the nutritional gatekeepers of the family. Very beautifully she talked about. So such a wonderful thing, as when we think about that role, doesn't it uplift us and empower us? Because we are not saying that why should I do, why I only have to bug my brain to think what is there for lunch or dinner. But instead of that, you have a designation that I am the nutritional gatekeeper. That itself is very empowering for all of us, and then we feel, wow. So that the choosing the right time to eat for myself, choosing the right ingredients when I do my shopping. So that itself I thought we'll cover upon, because I remember in some of the groups where people were asking, Prabha, what to choose with so many selections in the supermarket? Right, before and all, we have only go to shop, bhaiya mujhe, you give me the 1 kilo dal and 2 kilo rice and all, we say. But here nowadays supermarkets have come, so it has become super selections are there. So we are getting confused with so many different types, and it's it's so, marketing is so fantastic. You stand in the line and then you have all chocolates on the side. Temptations of sense organs are fantastic, too good. And then we say, array, one chocolate, I'll grab it. No, let me take it and go. One chips packet will say, when I'm having my PMS, I feel like having that salt craving. So like that. So what to choose? Yes, what to choose is, choose again and again to say what will be nourishing for you. So what will be nourishing for you? Something which is non processed, something which is non-preservative, non-chemical based. So they say, right, the preservative rich food will improve the shelf life of a product, but will also increase the waistline of your body. So that is the way there is a quote by some very empowering women who say like that, because the more preservatives you see and the shelf life is more, you see 12 months, 24 months shelf life of one single item, then you know what are the preservatives added. So that is why we all women as nutritional gatekeepers need to know how to read the labels in a supermarket dabbas. That we don't do that. We only look at how much it is. 25 rupees, 30 rupees. Okay, I'll take this. Whatever choice you're feeling. So we see only the MRP. But apart from the MRP, can we also look at the ingredients? Look at the ingredients, what all things are there. Is it E stabilizer, emulsifiers, stabilizers, E this thing, that D, all those things, hydrogenate trans fat. They will say no trans fat, but they would have added something else there, which is trans fat item only, similar item. So we have to look at the labels, take the choice. Again, freedom of choice is within us. So take the choice, then you will know that can I choose something which is more of a natural made with no preservatives or less preservatives, whatever choice you take. So everywhere we have a choice. Does this mean we don't eat when we are not hungry, especially during COVID? Being at home, the hunger feeling is hardly felt. Oh, Bala, okay. Yeah,
Yes.
Chetan.
Yes, I would like to answer that, Bala, for you. Yes, it is true that if you're not really feeling hungry, you do not have to eat. Okay? It is very important to realize that it is not necessary that eating is the only. Many a times, even when we are thirsty, the same signals are sent. The stomach does not differentiate between, or the signals that are sent does not differentiate between thirst and hunger. You perceive it as hunger. So many times check, are you really feeling hungry or is it just thirst that is there? So that can also be there. And also, like how Prabha said, check on the number of preservatives which increase the waistline. That is why in our texts, we go back, always refer to your texts, which the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita, wherever it is always said, even the Ayurvedic texts say, eat food which is grown locally, eat food which is grown in that particular season. Nowadays, we get mangoes throughout 24, all the 12 months we are getting mangoes. But when it is grown and it comes in the summer season, do you see that the nutrient value of it is much, much higher? And therefore, eating food from that particular season is very important. And this is what is a very important factor which we stress upon in not only yoga, but in Ayurveda too, when we say eat food which is satmya, which is good for your body, which is congenial to your body. Eat clean food, shuchi bhojana. Okay, that is also one of the factor. Eat warm food which is warm. And when eat food which is light to digest, especially in the evenings, when they say, we have a laghu upahara, there'll be pakodas, there'll be, deep fried stuff. It is not laghu. Laghu means not light to eat, as in it is food which can be easily digested. Okay, that is what is meant by laghu upahara. We say, I'm doing upavasa today. I am not eating rice, but I will eat everything else in the name of upavasa. Okay, so this is where we need to be mindful. Mindfulness is a very important practice when it comes to food. And like you said, since women are the key persons who are handling food, diet, and they are the people who are taking care of the nourishment of not only the entire family, but of themselves too. They are definitely needed to be more mindful of these factors. And when you said about being mindful, it is not only about when you buy the products. Yes, you buy whatever products that are nowadays organic, less chemicals, less, all of that, fine. But how are we using it? How are we cooking it? You may buy the best products, but when you're cooking that meal, if you are cooking that meal in anger, if you are cooking that meal with sadness, disappointment, jealousy in your heart and mind, you are definitely going to convey that energy into the food that you have cooked. Anna se man, that is there. So you also can make it out as man se an. So you're going to transfer what is in your man to the anna that you're making. And that, when you serve on the plate to your children and your others in the family, they are going to ingest that. And a little bit of that energy that day, probably, if you're subtle enough and you can observe that, they will also start feeling angry for no reason. This is what we can always be mindful about. Be aware of that when you're cooking, how you're cooking. It's not only about cleanliness of the food, it's not only about washing your vegetables clean and keeping it and taking the nutritional aspect, but the mind, the emotions, what you are feeling within, how you are cooking the food. That goes a long way in improving the nourishment and nutritional value of that particular food and dish that you prepare.
Yeah, I think the emotions when we cook is very important. So that is why I keep telling people also, if you have hired a cook, take a cook who has a very positive mindset, because
Exactly.
what that cook's emotions and the mindset of that is going to be coming there. Like Swami Vivekananda says, every thought becomes a ripple, and what all ripples you are radiating out, it is going to be affecting the other person or the other things around you. So and you are having that's kind of a thought process when you are cooking. You had a fight with a daughter, you have this thing with your spouse, and then in that I mind that day, either the food will be extremely sour or extremely salty, or you will say, "Arey, same sambar I prepared, it is not so tasty." And then adding on, there is a lot of anxiety as well as agitations when people in the house comment about the food. And I keep telling that we are the food is commented, not your skill. Again, we women make it personalized. So again, more and more disassociate that you have prepared, so people are telling you that you are a bad cook. No, that day's food is bad. What can I do? So there again, the disassociation will never make us feel troubled. So that is what I can again. A ahara is, what am I giving? What am I giving inputs? And somebody asked about binge eating. See, the first we have to understand that why are we binge eating, because there are some temptations in front of us. For example, I love salty food, I love anything salty. So right in front of me you keep some banana chips, it becomes very tempting for me to have it. So suddenly you tell me that don't have chips at all, it becomes very stressful for me. You put it in right in front of me, and then my neurotransmitters are all getting activated, and then I'm looking at it, but still it's like, so much of temptations are there. So what is the best remedy is, slow and steadily you kind of take steps back. Okay, so instead of putting the entire packet of banana chips or whatever chips you're having that binge eating feeling, having it right in front of you and then keep eating it from that packet or whatever, start with taking little bit of that in a bowl, limited portions. So engage the senses in a limited way. Again, you say don't do, it will become, again they say, right, self care is not saying that you should exercise just because you ate. People think, no, that I have binge eaten so much, I'm going to work out 2 more hours extra. So then that is not self care, it is like you're punishing yourself that you ate. So then let there be no guilt when you binge, but can I develop a mindfulness? What am I tending to binge eat? What is my direction? Am I binge eating on the fried food, or whatever is grabbing, whatever is right in front of me, or some sweet just after meals? Whatever it is, if that is one small piece of sweet is giving you a sense of satisfaction, fantastic. But you're tending to have the entire thing, then there is a binge eating. So what can I do? Can I take a small piece, sit like Dr. Nagaratna says, right? Have a rasagulla, but not a full rasagulla. Take half of it, slowly sit and have. I love chocolates. So what I used to do is I have a small piece of chocolate whenever I feel like, I take it slowly. It's like the ad chocolate ads, they will eat and then they savor it, and then you will find the chocolate ad so beautifully made, right? So that is what we are doing. We are sitting there mindful of that beautiful chocolate, just that flavor, and the flavor of the chocolate just fantastically filling us, and then we feel very content with one small piece, and then you're feeling better. The problem happens, we binge it, is we eat fast, we want to grab out, we eat faster to satisfy it. Again, that time you put a stop on yourself, then can I start eating slow? Then instead of grabbing the whole thing, actually you will feel like eating only 4 pieces. Start like that, start your mind like that. Harness your mind slow and steadily rather than saying, I'm abstaining from this completely. Within a month, you'll again come back. It is not sustainable. So, anything sustainable is lasting for a year. That is called sustainability. Anything should last. Whatever changes, you should think in your mind, will it be sustainable for a year also? Will I be able to do that? Yes, I can do it. Okay, let me start that. Or shall I do step by step? So anything during PMS also. PMS, please. A lot of questions were coming yesterday also, Shubha.
Yeah, PMS is because of the hormonal here. When we are looking at binge eating, let me just start with that and go on into why we binge eat during the PMS, or when we are the first and foremost factor of binge eating is the mental aspect of anxiety, stress, fear. These are the three things. If you watch your child, just during the time of exam, your child will feel extremely hungry, extremely. The night meals or the snacks in between, they're constantly wanting. You would think that, oh, they are wanting to not sit and study, so therefore they're using this time to go ahead and pick up a packet of whatever, eat, and they just keep saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And you are thinking that it's an excuse, but it is not. It is because there are changes happening within our system. It is a hormonal imbalance that is created. And when we say this, there are a neuro, I mean, I know I'm going into the medical aspect, but I think it will give us all a further deeper thought process or understanding on this matter, which says, just at the base of the hypothalamus are the neurotransmitters for hunger. Okay, that which increases the hunger, a particular set of neurons, and that, and on the other side, there is the neurons which decrease the hunger. Okay, there are these two sets of neurons that are there. Okay, let me come to this beautiful relation of why this is with what we do when we do yoga. This is about the hypothalamus, the certain set of neurons which are increasing the hunger, and there are a certain set of neurons which are decreasing the hunger. There are also hormones which are related to you wanting to eat or not wanting to eat. There are different organs, especially in the GI tract or our digestive tract. There are different hormones being secreted which help to increase the hunger pang or decrease, especially even in the stomach. When the stomach is full, then when the stomach is full, automatically it triggers a certain hormone is released and it goes back to the brain. It sends a signal to the brain and says, now stop eating. But at the same time, when the stomach empties out, there is a certain hormone which sends a signal back to the brain, to this area of the brain that is just below the hypothalamus. Okay, and this is the combination of gut and brain, right? We see that gut and brain combination that we see. So this is what it is about. I'm just giving you a relationship here about the hormones. And when we say, like Prabha, you said salt, I like. Somebody said, I like, chips, your chips and whatever. I like sweet. It is also seen that there is something that is called as a bliss point in our, system, which is a very beautiful, a very fine balance of salt, fat, and sugar. So the companies, the food companies which are marketing, all the marketing companies have found the secret out, and they made a very fine balance with all of this, the fat, the sugar, and the salt. So when you start eating this, when you start eating a food in this balance, it tends to bypass this neurons. The neurochemical transmission that is happening gets bypassed. Okay, and a new pathway is created of pleasure. And therefore, we are all trying to binge. And once again, the stress factor is, the stress factor that we have, especially women during premenstrual or when they go through perimenopause or menopause, the hormones are raging horribly. Okay, so therefore, there is no balance. And because there is no balance in the hormone system, the immune system is low, we are tending to resort to this pathway of pleasure, of bliss point. We feel, that when we feel that bliss for that moment, automatically we are going to, all of us, whether it is in the form of food or any of the lifestyle that we follow, we are looking for contentment or satisfaction or happiness, right? That is the whole goal of existence. And therefore, food is one of the basic thing that we go to for happiness. So this is where that is the reason why we tend to binge. So if we are aware of that, one is the awareness. You create an awareness of why I am binging. Why? What is it that is behind me? The stress, If you're aware, then yes, you can definitely make, substitutions which help you. Even if it is a chip, like Prabha said, put it in your mouth, chew it for so long, chew it for such a long time that, the contentment arises. But we never do that. You pick up one chip and there the whole packet is gone. If by the time you just blink, like many of us watch TV and we are eating, so, or popcorn when we go to the movie. Why do you think we buy that large popcorn and then, even not even half of the scene is over with the popcorn is over
It
here?
has become it has become like I think like you go to the temple and we buy flowers beautifully for the god, no? Like that when we go to the the cinema theater, that
Yeah.
that now just like in US before and all it used to be small small. Now it's like large and extra large. And you tell them to give small, they will never give you. So and we want to finish it off also. There is a temptation because such a big thing and then we keep eating. See, when we are distracted somewhere, then we keep
It
eating.
is the marketing strategy that they're using, and we are all falling prey to it because we are not aware, first and foremost. So, if we are more aware, then yes. And nowadays, we don't even have to go to the theater because of COVID. Home theater is there. So, we are all doing it at home, doing it in style with the pakodas or with everything. It's not that you should not eat, definitely not. It never is that you avoid all junk. Like yoga in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Yukta Ahara. You can eat anything and everything, but in moderation. That is the key word is moderation. Whatever lifestyle we follow, that is where, we have that. If you can say yes, I'm sure Lay's always says you can never stop at one chip. That is the challenge that they've put us, right? That's the challenge that you need to take. But it's true. So if you are aware and you can bring in moderation in your eating and in your whatever lifestyle that you follow, then definitely eating junk is not bad. Eating once in a while is definitely not bad. In Ayurveda, there is a lot of, they say, you know, we always advocate that you use we have a aspect of shad rasas, okay? The different rasas in the food, the different tastes. So we always say, take all the six, include in your diet all the six, rasas. It may not be in one particular meal, but through the day that you're having, try and include all these rasas that help to give you proper nutrition into the body. It helps to keep your Agni going much better. It nourishes your Agni. So that is what it is said. And if you go to our traditional systems of serving food, they serve the payasam or some sort of a sweet at the corner of the leaf. And if you sit on a banana leaf food that you have, that's served first. According to Ayurveda, they say eat the sweet first. But according to the Western concept, dessert comes at the end, right? There is something that you have to look into, because let me tell you why that this thing is about eating sweet in the first. It is heavy to digest. First and foremost, the sweet that you eat tends to, it's like burning fire, and you add a dry twig into it. What happens? It's going to combust, and it's going to. Instead, if you add something which is going to burn slowly, it helps to reduce that combustibility of the fire and the food. So therefore, eat sweet first, then you can include your other tastes of salt, or, eat sweet and that which is oilier first. That is what it said. Then you bring in the sar, amla, then lavana or salty. That is the food. And you end with what is called as kashaya or tiktaka. Katu tiktak kashaya is at the end, the drier portion at the end. So this is how Ayurveda advocates eating food. So I just wanted to share that. That'll help, I thought.
Yes, it does help because, like you said, the dessert. Many of us have this habit of having there is a craving for sweet. I see in my house also. No, some of us in the family, if the sweet is not there, they go to the jaggery, this thing, and then because again, when we start eating in a regular time, we eat in a wholesome meal, because there sometimes a compromise will be happening. So again, also people tend to look for sweet somewhere, because the meal wouldn't have had that kind. It might be two spicy meals. So only, like you said, only one rasa is become dominant. So the spiciness has become dominant. So there itself, again we start looking for something sweet to kind of pacify us. Again, one more suggestion for people with binge eating is, what is in my kitchen pantry. That a tip is important, because when things are right in front of me, obviously I will try to grab it, right? I'm not very strongly willpowered person to always restrain and abstain itself. So what we have in our kitchen, what we keep in our kitchen, would always help us to take the right items, snack items, when we are feeling. And when do we feel like binge eating? You would have observed, either some people, they say they feel like binge eating at night at 12 o'clock, because if you are a person who stays very late up in the night, first of all, that is wrong. So if you're having exam tomorrow, I can agree. Otherwise, start sleeping early. Earlier sleep is good for your liver. Next is, sometimes people binge eat in the evening. All the pani puri stalls outside would get filled with evening. Why? Because either you would have had a very small lunch, thinking that I'm gaining weight, and then we eat very less lunch, and then evening at 5 o'clock, hunger starts. Terrible hunger starts, and suddenly craving starts. I feel like having chatpata, and then we say, let's, now Swiggy is there, otherwise we go out, a stall is there, we eat, or farsans or whatever it is, we tend to binge eat there. So that is why, at before the binge eating time comes, check out how your lunch meal is. Are you having a wholesome lunch, having all ingredients in the right proportion? So that is very important. Like Dr. Nagaratna says it, tatte tumba tarkari. Is your meal having good amount of vegetables? See, what happens is, no, we when we are having our lunch, no, today we all will be having lunch, right? First we will put rice on the plate, then we will put little vegetable, little sambar, little this thing. What will be best? First put the vegetable, then the dal or whatever you have prepared, sambar, dal or something like that. Then put the rice. Fill your plate with a good amount of proteins and dals and vegetables and nutrients and micronutrients, macronutrients, and then have your rice. Nobody is telling rice is bad. People have a pavam, rice has a very big misconception from people that rice will give me weight gain, and wheat has become into a topmost raja. Wheat and millets are excellent. So it is not about that. It is about being mindful in your eating. You are a rice eater, you are a South Indian, eat your rice, but select your rice with a more hand pounded rice, not fully polished. Check out, be mindful of what you're eating. Don't on the TV, watch the news and eat. So these all will prevent binge eating. This will prevent you to eat over or eat under. You'll eat in a balanced yukta ahara, moderated quantity in your lunch. When you eat your lunch, always remember your evening also. Can I have a healthier snack, like a nice good bowl of fruit or something which is nourishing me, rather than waiting for the craving to come on to me? So that craving comes 5:30, 6 o'clock, craving comes. Either finish off your dinner by 6:30, 6:45, 7 p.m. like that, if the craving is very, very high, or you are unable to do having early dinner because so and so reason in your family. Have a nice meal at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Have a good snack, like fruit is the best. A good serving of fruit will be best. Now, and like Shubha says, in season fruits. No, this watermelon, no, nowadays available every time. During peak winter, you get watermelon, right? So like you said, mango is available, raw mango every time. And but when you are asking an organic farmer, they will say now only flowers are sprouting in their tree, and but you find raw mango in the vegetable market. So imagine what's happening. So they must have either some spraying has happened, or they must have done some genetically modified things in the plant too, so that it increases the flowering and the process. It's like you giving your child fast items, some drugs to eat, so that they become very fast, they grow fast. So imagine what will be the problem with the such bringing up. So such genetically modified foods, preservative rich foods, all that also increases binge eating. So first is, when you are knowing that you are into a binge eating, first change your lifestyle into full wholesome foods. Whole foods is WHOLE, is basically is unprocessed food which is not having any chemicals. So make sure it is preservative free, and like Shubha says, listen to your constitution, check out which suits you. Don't look at another person. That person has gone into fruit fast, and you don't say every day I'm going to have only fruits. That's all. Every day I'm going to have only vegetables, because look at her, 12 kilos, 2 months. Array, I've been working on my weight for 12 years here, and 12 kilos in 2 months she has reduced. What is she following? She says, you know what, I followed this. You get so tempted, and then we join in, and then we get very depleted of energy. Some other health issue starts cropping up. So what is the right thing for me is important for all of us. Anything you want to add on, Shubha?
So when you said eating wholesome and how much to eat, right? We said about the right time when you're really hungry, but how much to eat? If you can, check on when you're eating your meal. I can overeat. I can eat 10 dosas. I may have a capacity to eat 10 dosas. Somebody else may have a capacity to eat only one dosa. Okay, that is one thing that we also look into our own capacity, natural capacity of how much we can tolerate to digest. But it is not that I can tolerate 10 dosas, so I'm going to eat 10 dosas. It's not that. It is you eat when you're, if you would, if you can divide your stomach portion into 4 parts, where you eat, for 2 parts. When you take 1 part for the liquid portion of it, be it sambar, whatever, rice, everything, buttermilk at the end, that is all. And the last 1/4 of your stomach you leave empty. It's not that, okay, I can eat 10 dosa, so I've eaten 9. Now I say, okay, I won't eat the 10 dosa. It's not that. Okay. Can I make do by eating only 4 dosas? But at the same time, leave enough space in your stomach for the prana or the agni or the chemicals there to act and to digest properly. That is a very important factor that we have to take into consideration when we are eating food. Okay.
Yeah, one more thing, no, very interesting thing is suddenly I lost my point. No, boredom. Yeah, the boredom point. Yes, when we women we feel that we are not engaged well, sometimes we would have seen that we tend to reach out, and that is why I keep telling yourself that what you keep in your kitchen is very, very important. And since you're all nutritional gatekeepers, so I keep repeating that so that you feel good about yourself. It's very important, because we say, no, my child tends to eat this and this, but you store lace, you store kurkure, you can only buy all those things and keep it in the this thing right in front of you. There it is there. Do you think there are some rishis or something, they will abstain themselves and not having it? After all, they are children, they are going to reach out. So what? And suddenly you say, I'm going to stop everything, and nothing is kept in the kitchen. Then imagine, now Swiggy Baba hai, you call Swiggy and immediately get. But otherwise, children get frustrated, then anger, temper tantrums, everything start coming, right? So you have to substitute. We have to take that's a subtle effort. Can I substitute, instead of them reaching out to a muffin which is prepared with lot of, muffin, when you see some companies, no, they have a shelf life of maybe 1 month or 2 months. If you make muffins at home, maximum in this weather now, in this weather, 3 days maximum. So imagine what is added there. We say peanut butter. I have peanut butter sandwich. You see a peanut butter dabba. What is in the nutrition idea there? But you buy a organic peanut butter, but every day can we have peanut? Everything in moderation. Everything. Peanut butter cannot be had every day. You will see your cholesterol. And so everything in moderation, and what you keep in the kitchen, a substitution is important. Like all young moms here who have younger children and teenage children, the teenagers, the younger fellows are keeping on raiding the kitchen, right? What have you kept in the kitchen for that? Have you kept nice interesting laddus? Put some chocolate powder in that laddus to make it interesting. You can't say that, I have made flaxseed laddu for you. Would they eat it? No chance. You can't expect them to eat flaxseed laddus. So what else you can make it interesting? They say, no, nice nariyal laddus, nice wheat laddus and besan laddus, interesting things, nice homemade muffins, bake your cookies, make it interesting, or get sources from very organic, who are home bakers, whom you know that they will not be adding any chemicals. Get in touch with them, so that the evening binge eating time you're able to select the right, the nutrient one which is good for you. So again and again, like even say buying of bread also, I wanted to give awareness to people. We just go and then buy the I don't want to name companies because it's YouTube live, but it's important that we take bread is also which is freshly baked. Again, look at the bread, emulsifies, preservative, so many things will be there in that. So again, how many times are we having bread in a week? That was also there. Can I take little effort in preparing a nice breakfast, a nourishing breakfast, whatever cuisine in India you are from, whichever part of India you are from? Can I learn some interesting recipes, which is also smart way of eating? I'm going to work, so can I do that with lot of planning? So that is very important. So can I plan and do? So how planning? That is where Vihara lifestyle changes come into a very important role. That is so that we are able to follow a lifestyle irrespective of whatever you're doing in your life. You're working, everyone is working, right? Everyone is in a doing state. All of us are working. Some of you are working in a company, some of you are doing this, some of you are doing that, but all of us are working here. So along with your work, which is your passion or whatever it is, what else I can do in my lifestyle? So somebody's asked a question, Shubha.
Somebody's asked a question, if I'm hungry all of the time, if I how many so then I would like to suggest to this person, whoever says that, I'm hungry all the time, there is an imbalance in your Agni, okay, which makes you either, it also, see, according to Ayurveda, we look at the different prakriti of a person. We are not all the same, okay. So the prakriti of a person goes into, if you are a person with the pitta prakriti, maybe Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are the three doshas that are there, which are seen in our in the systems which help in sustaining our bodies and the different functions in physiological and psychological functions of us. So this, when there is an increase in the, if you are that particular prakriti is like a genetic blueprint. You come with that. Okay. So if you are that, then probably you have a very strong Agni, which is, it keeps, what do you say? Therefore, you tend to eat more, or you feel hungry more. So why don't you look at your prakriti and make a change in your diet and the lifestyle? You can always modify what you eat, what type of food you eat, and you can still stick to 3 meals a day and not snack in between. Definitely. I would definitely suggest no snacking in between. And don't say, I'm a diabetic, so I have to do that. Definitely not. Work on yourself. And yoga is the science. Yoga is the panacea which will help you to bring that balance within you. When I said the hypothalamus and the neurons which are triggering hunger and reducing the hunger pangs, yoga is where we work on the psychoneuroimmunology. Okay, yoga is where we bring a fine balance to this. Therefore, we will be able to, bring, I'm not saying control the hunger. I'm not saying that. What I say is we can bring a beautiful balance. By bringing a balance when you do your yogic practices, pranayama, or whatever, it's not only the asanas. Okay, and it is yoga is being aware at every point, like how when you're buying something off the shelf or the store, there again, yoga or awareness comes in, mindfulness comes in. And this is what I would suggest when you say yoga helps in bringing about a balance, not only in your weight. Okay, generally we think of weight balance, that's all we are looking at. But no, it's about our emotional makeup, our mental makeup, where we can bring in a balance. And that's what you need to target to be able to bring the change in your body. I hope that answers the question of whoever's asked if I'm hungry so many times.
And one more thing is, somebody has asked about the cooking and handling practices. First thing is, again and again, I keep mentioning is looking at the kitchen and what kind of utensils you're having. Shifting out from a more eco-friendly utensils, which also helps in a much healthier you, basically, rather than the non-stick versions or the plastic dabbas which we store. Sometimes we keep the plastic dabbas also to such an extent that it is also getting discolored. So again and again we look into that. These are subtle starting lifestyle changes. You need to start on, go there and look. Do we keep old earrings in our dabbas? No, right? Whenever one earring, one small thing only comes up, we throw off, right? But why don't we do that checkup in our kitchen, like we do a monthly screen or a yearly screen for us? Do a yearly screen for your kitchen. Check out, any of my non-stick pans have got scratches. Can I shift from non-stick to more stainless steel options? Can I give off my aluminum cooker to make it more stainless steel cookers? Can I use glass vessels? Can I use mud pots for my sambar cooking and my what other cuisines you are having? So these are the subtle things which you can use for your cooking, the vessels, because the availability, like you say, the bioavailability of nutrients will be much better, because there is no leakage of bad chemicals when you're cooking in high heat, and that is very important. And remember that nowadays there's no oil thing which has come. Many people have come to zero oil cooking. So but I always believe, I'm sure Ayurveda Shubha also will be telling, that everything needs to be there in a meal within moderation levels, so that you're having the right amount of fat, right amount of nutrients. If I say medically, I would say right amount of macro, micro, carbohydrates, for proteins, fats, I would say in that medical aspect. And I'm sure in Ayurvedic aspect also we have these combinations. So don't go by the concept that let me have zero oil. So no, but again being mindful of how much oil and put in what type of oil am I using it. So again the choice is there within us to look. Even when you are staying, you would have seen, your grandmother and all would have been taking chakki oil, that is from the cold pressed. They would have started, and look at them how stronger they are. I remember to Kanyakumari we went with a group of two women who are 70 plus, and we were struggling to climb the steps of the temple, and but they went off. So how the strength of them is so fantastic, because they have taken care of their health so wonderfully, right? So yes, somebody is talking about vihara here, Shubha.
Yeah, vihara as in, like you said, the recreational activities that we choose, or vihara can be anything that helps to bring down the stress level in your mind. I would look at it as vihara as that way. It's not just the activity that you do. Why do you do that activity? It helps you not only become energetic, maybe physically too, but at the same time, it brings in that factor that I am, after a game of, if you are a player of badminton, you play a good game of badminton, you come back feeling, you may say, oh, you don't come back and say, I sweat so much, so I'm feeling good, I've lost so much weight. No, but you're going to say, I played a good game, I feel happy at the end of it. I swam, so I'm feeling happy. So that is recreation. That which brings, it recreates you. Please look at it that way. You recreate yourself. They recreate your mind, recreate your physical aspect. And that is what is recreation or vihara or lifestyle. And the lifestyle also, when we say vihara, it also goes in, like we say in Ayurveda, we have the beautiful concept of dinacharya and ritucharya, which are actually basic tenets, which if we follow, I'm not saying we follow to the dot of an I and a cross of a T, it is not possible in the present times. But if you look at the basic factors in dinacharya and ritucharya, it gives you guidelines as how to lead your lifestyle, and it's also sadvrata. It also explains about good conduct. Okay, what we say yama niyamas in yoga, it's nothing but these principles that we need to follow. If we follow those principles in your lifestyle changes that you adopt, I'm sure it is going to move you, or it is going to tip the balance of the scale towards being healthier, towards being more healthier, not only physically, but even emotionally and mentally, and move ahead. That is what I would. And I would like to make a small note here, since we're all women gathered, or I don't know if there are male also in this thing, but anyway, but so it doesn't matter. Let them realize that women, our age factor is one important thing that matter that we need to keep in mind when we are looking at diet, when we are looking at every aspect, even lifestyle aspects of recreation, everything doesn't have to be the same as we were. I was eating only this much. when I was younger, or I was eating this much when I was younger. So I don't have to continue the same meal. I don't have to continue the same portions. As I age, I need to make changes in my diet. It is very important because whatever may be our prakriti, maybe we tend to feel more gassy as we age. Just before our periods, we feel more gassy. I'm sure all of us have this bloating feeling, bloating sensation. Make a change in your diet. Look at your diet. Pulses are good, they are nutrients. I'm not saying no. But at that time, can you substitute that nutrient of protein in another manner? Look at it from some other source which doesn't make you feel so gassy. So these are things that you have to be aware of. If you look at your diet and you look at these smaller aspects, finer aspects, I'm sure you can make those changes.
No, that bloating, somebody had asked, I remember, the many women have this bloating feeling either just before their menstruation cycle, or they're going through some problems. One thing is also important to look at our gut health, that like Shubha also mentioned, right, the gut becomes a second brain. So I have seen that the moment we start enriching our gut health with the right items, eliminating all the wasteful items on a regular basis, then it really also improves our happy factor also, the happiness factor also, because you would be amazed to hear that those who are not in the medical science side, that there are millions and millions of bacteria in the gut, in the intestines, and it is supposed to be having more than what is there in the body. That much of bacteria is there in the intestines, and that bacteria, actually most of the bacteria is actually good bacteria, and there are some bad bacteria, there are some black sheeps, you could say. Sometimes they become overactive, and that is where putrefaction and the fermentation happens when we start having wrong food combos, right? This
Ayurveda, there is a very important says
food
Viruddha
combos.
Ahara. And Viruddha
Yes.
Ahara doesn't mean taking hot and cold like many people think. I shouldn't take ice cream with jamun. Once in a while, taking the hot ice cream with jamun is allowed once in a while. But if you're doing that on a regular basis, what happens is it affects your doshas, it affects your agni, therefore it affects your immune system, and therefore it produces toxins in your body. Therefore, it is called Viruddha, I mean, therefore it is called Visha for your body. That is what we say. It produces toxins. Visha not as
And
poison.
some other food incompatible combos, no, Shubha, like fruit and
Yeah,
meat
milk and
meals.
fruit. They say, we say
Yeah.
milkshakes. You know, we advise, wow, lovely strawberry milkshake. Strawberry is sour. Milk is, we don't go by milk as sweet and strawberry as it's there. We call a particular innate quality that is there. Guna is there in that particular taste. Vipaka is there in a particular food. So when you combine that, when you combine madura or sweet with sour, then it is going to bring about an imbalance in your system. That therefore, Viruddha Ahara is something that you have to take in. You have to be aware of. So when you say ghee and honey, they say you don't take ghee and honey in the same proportion. It is wrong. So you can alter the proportion. You can say instead of taking 1 spoon and equal quantities, ghee and honey, so you increase the ghee a little bit or increase the honey more. Say 2 spoons of honey, you can take 1 spoon of ghee. When you're taking it together, if you're taking it together, that is what. And also when you say it's not only the food, Viruddha Ahara comes according to the time, like how you said, mangoes in a wrong season. When you're in a very cold place, taking ice creams again, which is again Viruddha for the Desha, Kala, all these factors are there when you say Viruddha. Okay, so therefore, that is one aspect which can be looked into if you want to take care of and when I also want to bring in this tip before I forget that. When we say bloating and other things, there are smalls there. Go to your kitchen. Your kitchen is your medicine counter. There are spices. Use those spices to combat different, I wouldn't say ailments, I would say little disturbances that crop up in your system, digestive system. For the bloating, you could always include ajwain, jeera, ginger. These are the things that help you reduce the inflammation in many ways. Turmeric, which is so like now, lot of research is happening on all these spices, and they come up with research papers and say this is there, and only then we will go and say this. But from time immemorial, maybe your mother, your grandmother, everybody has been using these spices and using in small quantities, which we may not realize. But it helps to aid our system within. It helps to keep our balance. So when there is a small imbalance that we find in our system, why don't we go back to these roots and see, okay, can this factor or this particular spice help me overcome, combat that particular feeling of discomfort that I have? Can also be tried.
Yeah, I remember one thing. See, one thing is in a lighter note, we go to a buffet. If you are going out of station, we go to a breakfast buffet. In the breakfast buffet, you have lychee juice, you have pineapple juice, then you have appam, you have dosa, then you have upma, all that. So what we see, what most of us tend to do is we tend to everything, and then on top of that have papaya fruit also, and then top of that lychee juice is also available nowadays. Five-star hotels have become very very creative. They have made methi water, methi soaked water. Everything is had as an avial in the during the lunch time, during the breakfast time. So that is, you are having your idli, dosa, appam. On top of that, you are having your papaya, everything. Then you are having your juice. Then suddenly you say, no, I also want a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
At the breakfast
exactly.
time. So you're adding. So what all we are again putting in at that in window period of half an hour or 1 hour. Again, we have to step back. There are choices. It is
It
not
is like
necessary.
I've paid so much and they're offering so much. How can I leave? That's value for money.
So again and again, we have choices. That is the time we need to step back. What I need today? Oh, I feel like having dash 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 appam and stew today. I feel like having. Okay, I'll take that. Maybe a little bit of upma I'll take. But again, no, fruit is very good. Very very good. I have to have fruit. Again, we take a good serving of fruit. So imagine our stomach having a mixture of items, and then you're churning. Imagine what is happening to our stomach and what happens to our gut, because those putrefied item goes to your gut and remains there, and that is where foul odor comes. Many women end up with farting, which is very foul smelling, or severe lower abdominal bloating, some discomfort happening, and so cramps continue happening. So this is where, and again, remember the choices to take what you want to eat once in a while. Take a break, to eat also. If you don't feel hungry, take a break so that it cleanses your stomach. If you again listening to your hunger pangs, very very important. So many questions are coming, but it's already 1:10. Shall we do
Already
for
answered.
5 more minutes and then we'll stop it off? Okay, through 3 more minutes and we'll stop it. Anything you'd like to take question, Shubha?
Just wanted to, like you said, listen to your stomach. You don't have to eat when you're hungry. Like when you say, when generally, if you see, when we say, okay, I'm not feeling well, I have fever, the tendency, okay, you have bread and milk. Okay, that is what they think, that is light on your stomach, so eat bread and milk. But no, bread is highly processed. Okay, it is made of maida, whatever. Instead, go to your grandmother and ask. She will say, have 1 cup of ganji. That's enough. Add little tulsi, add this thing, make. And yes, that is what it is. Go back to your roots, trace your grandmothers wherever they are, ask them certain things. They will give you more gyan that you get in from the nutrition books or from the wherever you want. I'm just suggesting this because we tend to ignore what is there at home. We tend to ignore knowledge coming from reliable, relevant, and time tested sources that are there. This is a way you could also connect with your family, with your elders in the family. Connect with them. That is a beautiful way of building a connection and a bridge with them. Try that. That is one thing that you can all go back to. No, it's not just about cooking. It's not just about lifestyle. It's not just about the food. It is about building a relationship with yourself, with the food, with the people around you. That is the beautiful concept that we have, if of food, the priority, the importance of food can be gauged and can be understood in this manner if we look at it in a wholesome way. You know, that's
And
what.
connecting to the roots, very beautifully you said, Shubha, because I feel like all of us women, know, we start looking for what all courses I need to upgrade myself. This course, that course, now edema, now Udemy, and this. First thing is we also need to do a course of how to get back to my roots. get in touch with what all things, read books, get, if a grandmother is there with you, connect with your grandmother. If your mother is very much into it, or your aunt or grand aunt or whatever, whoever it is who loves such kind of recipes and this thing, note it down, have a book, note it down, and they will give you amazing kashaya recipes. During fever, we have in our house a tradition, kandan tipli rasam. Okay, so like that we have. So there are so many, every tradition, every cuisine, every part of India are rich with fantastic home remedies. They choose the food according to how you feel, right? Today is rainy season. At that time you are not choosing to eat the other things which is going to be more dampening for me. We choose the food which is going to be more nourishing and warm, giving warmth to me, but not dampening me. So according to the season, according to the timings, so everywhere when we see that, we are mindful, and also we are educated in that level. Because you might think that I don't know, Prabha, you might wonder that. So this today's session was just to give, it's a teaser, it's absolutely an appetizer for all of you, because it's a very vast subject. And more and more, buy books, get in touch with people who are more into healthy eating, ayurvedic doctors, naturopathy doctors, your aunts, your grand aunts, like that. Get some tips and upgrade yourself in that way. That upgradation becomes a very important life skill now. Because, and vihara plays a very important role, because what activities you choose during your other times of the day makes you feel uplifted. It makes you feel something very important. We don't look at that time, say, well, anyway, what I'm sitting and doing, I'm a housewife, I sit and cook and cook and cook, and I cook, and then nobody appreciates me. So there is a sense of dissatisfaction happens to most of us women there. So what can I do? You know what, Prabha, I used to love embroidery. What is stopping you to do embroidery now? Which is, you used to love it. Sit, I don't have time. Then plan your day. Plan where you could put aside maybe half an hour or 1 hour, whatever it is, to do something which you really wanted. And don't say, I will do it after 6 years, I will do after 10 years, after my daughter gets married, after my daughter goes out. Don't delay. Now, the presence of now, the importance of now is important. Never say that I will do that after. It is not an investment there. Never say, like some movie also, there's, how do you know you will be alive 10 years from now? There was a movie, I forgot that movie. So, right? So it's such a hard hitting sentence for all of us. So let's sit back, check our lifestyle, check our diet, and what all can we do for self care, as we are all nutritional gatekeepers. So we'll stop, because diet, there'll be millions and millions of questions. I'm so sorry we are not unable to answer all your questions, but I hope it was interesting for all of you. So Shubha, over to you to close the session.
Okay, I know there are so many questions coming up, and so many, is this right? Is this wrong? Do I drink water before food? Do I drink water after food? Do I drink water during food? See, what is right for me living in India may be not right for somebody living in Russia. Okay, so that is something that we have to look into. I'm not saying there is no one particular formula which says this is right, this is wrong. There is no such thing. Tighter, watch and look at it. Yes, but drinking water during your meals in sips is good enough to aid the digestion. If you have a very high acidity factor, you could drink water before meal, a little bit of water before meal. But if you drink a lot of water before meal, it's going to reduce the acidic levels in your stomach, which will disturb the digestive capacity. That is what it is said. So drink room temperature or slightly warm water during your meals in sips. That will help aid the digestion. This is one of the questions that had come up, and I just read that, so I'm answering that. There are, I know, many other questions, but which may not be answered today. But remember, it's all about you looking into yourself. You looking into how you handle things around you. Being a woman is the most beautiful gift that we've got. Being a woman, we always probably think that, why am I a woman? Why do I get my periods? I have to bear with this pain. I have to bear with this. I have to bear. But it also teaches you how to be patient, how to be tolerant about yourself, about the physiological processes that go. And what we learn from how we are tolerating things, be it appreciation, be it reprimand from the other family members, all of that, it helps us if we can turn on and learn to be more positive and learn to use that to grow and allow others around us to be nourished by our personality. And that personality or persona is created with the right food not only for your body, but right food for your mind, the thoughts that we generate. So remember that always. Okay. So with this beautiful thing that we have, always to remember to feel good about our own self. That is the most important factor about Women's Day. It's not about just on March 8th or the first 1 week of March. Here we're just touching upon it. But remember this throughout the year. Throughout the year is what you need to feel good about. Being a woman, being being enriched with the knowledge, being armed with so much of what is being given as teasers to you during this week. I'm sure it helps. It goes a long way in nourishing all of us. So with that, and when we say food, everything, let us not forget to be thankful and grateful for what we have today in front of us. Whatever it is, little, lots. I may not have the best cuisine. I will not be able to go to that particular restaurant and eat. I may not be, going on that tour to eat that particular food of that particular place. But let's be grateful. One day, being positive, we probably will get that chance. But if you are grateful, that goes a long way in nourishing you. Please remember that always. Gratitude to the divine for whatever we have received, what we have today with us. And that's why praying before every meal that you eat, just 2 minutes of silence. You don't have to chant a very long prayer. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not about the chanting. Yes, the chanting helps to bring in or trigger certain neurons in you. I'm not saying no, but chanting or just praying in your mind, being thankful for not only the food that your mother or whoever places it on your this thing, but for also to those people who have grown that for you. Okay, it goes a long way in making that food more nutritious. Okay, this is one factor that I wanted to share with all of you. With that, let us sit down, close eyes, take a moment just to connect within ourselves to that special divinity that is there within ourselves, which is guiding us, and also to be thankful to the divinity that we seek in temples, wherever we are seeking in the universe outside, for having blessed us with so much, for having blessed us first and foremost in becoming a woman, a girl, a mother, a wife, a daughter, or in any aspect of being a woman. The Shakti that we have within us, let us access that today and always in future. With that, let us close with a closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhave Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, namaste, and a very good day to all of you.
Thank you, everyone. And tomorrow, do not miss, tomorrow at 4 p.m., we have a very empowering session with Janaki Vishwanath ji, who is a very absolutely empowered woman who's leading Antarbhava Foundation and also many more fantastic achievements in her bio, which I will be sharing. It will be self reliance comes from self respect. It's a very wonderful session. Please do not miss. And on Sunday, we are going to have an offline session for Bangaloreans at Lal Bagh. So please, I will share you all the details. Hope all of you are there in the Yoga Bharati group. So hoping to see the huge crowd of Yoga Bharati people. That is all of you who are connected and joining this session are Yoga Bharati people. Please do come and enjoy the offline yoga and laughter yoga session on Sunday early morning 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. Details will be posted. Thank you so much.